and welcome to Clockwise Thoughts. I'm Scout, and of course, this is Black.
Hey, what's going on, y'all?
We're just going to get straight to the thick of all of this. What is going on around the NBA? When you
Now, what's
are
going on around
allowing,
the NBA? Hold on. Now, what's going on around the NBA? What's going on in H Town? Let's just call it what it is.
hey, we'll get to the meat to this because this has been going on through the media for quite some time. When
What's
you
going
are
on in
allowed,
H-Town?
when you are allowed to show up to training camp late, not on time, new coach, new teammates. When you are recorded being out in Vegas and you show up to training camp not in shape, and you're in the preseason not in shape, and you still have 2 years left on your deal. We've been talking about this now for a couple of weeks, but this is getting ridiculous. Mr. Harden, you have 2 years left on your contract. Pretty much you're in the top three people getting paid. $133 million per year right now. But you show up. When you finally do show up, you're not in basketball shape, and you are still trying to dictate and give demands.
Yeah.
This is what we was talking about last week. David Stern has turned to a rotisserie chicken in his grave. How many times that man is turning over? Because it ain't. I'm sorry. I'm from I guess where I'm part of the older generation. These men out here soft. Yes, these men, and I'm gonna go like how Charles Barkley said. They out here soft. They're like soft serve ice cream that you get from the Dairy Queen out here. I'm so sorry that you care this much about your owner's political views that you're trying to sell a Q. You know, you doing a ruse. You got John Wall. Hell, before that, you had Russ, and you had the architect Chris Paul. I am not going to do a Stephen A. Smith. Yes, we've been doing this for weeks. Mr. Harden, get your head out your fourth point of contact. Show up and do your job. Us as fans paid to see you play or pay to see you on television. We pay your salary, all the extra little stuff, but you show up looking like a chubby Oompa Loompa that can barely run up and down the court. I'm sorry, I played basketball. I may have not got to that level, but I played college ball and I played ball for the Army. Are you kidding me? Are you kidding me, sir? The way how you are basically got the owner, new head coach, and your teammates by the jewels. John Wall is a superstar just like you. Just because where he have not won the MVP, he is not a 3-time scoring champion, but he is an all-star, sir. He is an all-star.
Bench writer.
But I'm just saying, he's an all-star, sir. If he can show up,
it's street clothes.
If he can show up and be on time,
it's street clothes.
That's the thing. On street clothes or not, he is still there. He ain't out with the baby throwing money up in Vegas. See, you're going to end up being like Tristan Thompson. That's what happened. You're out there trying to do too much. You probably need to lower your parameters. I'm so sorry, America. Forget America. I'm so sorry, the world out here that is going to check into this. Mr. Harden, need reality check. I feel that, hey, you ain't going to show up to camp and stuff regular. You ain't going to show up in the shape. Oh, no, we're going to start hitting you where it hurt. And it ain't that nappy beard that you need to trim up and edge up, looking like Chewbacca out here. You need to fix that. That's besides the point. You honestly need to start finding these people the players union and everything else. Y'all need to show accountability. It should not be done like this. And in Houston, I'm so sorry. The owners, the GM, the head coach, you have some favoritos.
Well, it's a first year, but wait, now it's not. Wait. Now the coach is it's his first time coaching. Forget the first year head coach. It's his first time being a head coach in the NBA. So
Okay.
unless you're gonna have the total support of management, and the front office, the total unwavering support, it's hard to go out there and what I'm saying, basically put the jewels out there. You know what I mean? You got to know that you got it. Like, okay, prime example. Not to say dealing with the superstar personality, but look at Eric Spoelstra in Miami in his first seasons post Big Three, post Chris Bosh, post Dwayne Wade. When management is with you, so you can go out there and you can go through the hardships knowing that your job is secure, then yeah, you know what I'm saying, you can let yours hang to a degree. But I don't know if that's necessarily what Steven Silas has in Houston right now. You know what I mean? I know you would want to get rid of James Harden, but like you said, he's got 2 years left on his deal. So I don't think the Rockets are necessarily pressed to move him right now. You know what I mean?
It may not be a pressing issue, but I'm going to say this. That man a problem, and it ain't everybody else. It can't be. You had the architect.
No, I agree with you.
Chris Paul.
Without question.
But that's what I'm saying. You had the architect, Chris Paul, plus other key players. You know what I'm saying? You had other key players that when you did your little stint run, you still cannot get the job done. Then you get Mr. Triple-Double himself, besides Oscar Robinson, Russell Westbrook. You could not get the job done. Now you go get John Wall. Man, come on now. Come on now.
Listen. I hear what you're saying. I completely understand what you're saying. But at the same time, to a degree, I gotta understand. I gotta go with Stephen. What Stephen A. said. This is what you're seeing is the product of behavior that's been allowed for a while. Now that that regime kind of in a sense is not in power anymore. There's no Mike D'Antoni. There's Daryl Morey in the front office. I apologize. So, you know what I mean? You're just seeing basically what they allowed to happen to a degree. They're just not here to necessarily take the to kind of smoke screen it, I guess.
But I'm sorry to say, though, Black, this should have been addressed a while ago. Just because you're an NBA superstar or whatever else, nah. I'm not your flunky. My name is not Jeffrey. I'm not G off of Fresh Prince. I am not going to sacrifice stuff because you want to be a prima donna out here. Yeah, I know it take an ego to be in pro sports. You have to have a separate type of mentality. But this right here, no sir. No sir. You're a cancer. And I'm gonna honestly say this: you're a cancer. You did not want to fight for a position. I said it before, and I'm gonna keep saying you did not want to fight for a position against Jeremy Lamb. That's the reason why you left OKC. Then in Houston, they gave you the keys to the Lamborghini, and so of you taking the keys to the Lamborghini and driving straight and having you some fun, let the top down and let the wind go through that nappy beard. Oh no. You thought that car was made for drifting from side to side, and you gonna go either way that you want to. It's gonna be the James Harden. Oh, I'm gonna go this way. Oh no, I'm gonna go this way, buddy. I'm so sorry to say, no.
That's what
even
they,
though
that's what they
been allowed.
It should not
be. It should not be on the new regime to show discipline and penalize people like that. I'm gonna say this.
I understand that.
They penalized Boogie Cousins, correct? They penalized Boogie Cousins for the way he acted, correct? They penalized Ron Artest, Metta World Peace, the way how he acted, correct? Yes. They penalized Rasheed Wallace, just to name a few, on the way
But
how
the
they
thing is,
did in their actions, right?
but the
Penalize
thing
James
is
Harden.
he moving? But is he moving? But is what he doing moving within the grounds of the CBA? Because if it is, then I mean he's allowed to do it. It kind of sucks to see it. You know what I
LeBron
mean?
James didn't show up late to camp, and the man won his title.
Lord, listen.
I think it's a lack of work ethic and giving them.
Well, yeah, there's that, but why exactly would you have to? You know you can't win a title, but look, like, come on now, like, put yourself in James Harden's situation. You know you
Can't
can't
do
win
it.
a
I don't
title.
got a nappy beard. I can't do it. And
Fair
my
enough.
dress is
You
longer
don't
than
do
his.
facial hair.
No, can't do it.
Now, see, now that one was wrong. All right,
My hair is
no,
longer than his.
damn, that was wrong though. But okay, you're in Houston. You've got a tailor-made offense to you by Mike D'Antoni, facilitated by Daryl Morey. I believe I said I touched on this already before. But you've got all of
Yes,
this
you
going
did
for
last
you.
week.
You've got all this going for you. Then you've removed D'Antoni, the I guess you could say the pseudo babysitter, and you remove their architect, Daryl Morey. Okay, you still have James Harden wanting to move around and do as he does because he's making the franchise money. Realistically, from that leaked phone call to Steph, I'm pretty sure James realizes you can't win a title in that way, but you can go get you some really nice stats, get paid a boatload of money, and you don't have to actually try that hard. I think that's where that, you feel the lack of the work ethic and give a damn comes in. You're like, you know what? I don't necessarily have to compete. I can just stay relevant. And by doing what I do, I make us relevant. You know what I mean? Do I really want to step outside of my comfort zone and actually try to achieve? Or do I want to stay in my self-contained bubble where I am the king of my domain? Personally, for me, that's kind of how I see, where James Harden is. You know what I mean? I don't have to necessarily try because where my core, my backing, the Houston Rockets, they're okay with what I'm doing because it makes us relevant, which makes the owner money, or that's the leg that I'm going to stand on.
I understand where you coming from. Mm-hmm. I truthfully do. I'm going to say this in the most nicest, kindest way. James Harden is acting like how at the beginning part of Remember Titans, when a couple actors was talking and it was a line saying, "What should I do for the team?" "What you mean the team? No one plays, so I'm going to get mine." That's the mindset that he has, and he's been having it for a long time. But that's not what you need to have. You can't win a championship alone. But if you got a boo-boo ugly face and your action is speaking boo-boo ugly, who want to come there to work with you to turn this thing around? In my opinion, the man has developed a God complex just because when you had the ball 95% of the time and you putting up 60 shots a game, hey, why not be a scoring title, holder? Heck, anyone can do that. Hey, coach, I got a green light to shoot whatever, right? Anyone can do that.
Well,
that's not how titles is won. For your name to be rung up being champion, it's a team sport. Key players, superstars playing together. And it's people who's at the superstar level. But that's what I'm saying, though. Everybody's in it for the chip. As Bam would say, everybody is in it. No. I'm gonna say this. It's not one. It's not one.
There's a lot of people in to catch a check.
I'm sorry. So you trying to tell me you dedicated your life just to get the check?
Yeah, because that check's worth a couple $1 million a year. Look at James making 33 of them per year.
Yeah, but hold on.
fuck a
But
million. Excuse me. I'm
hold
sorry.
on.
Forget a million. But he's got 33 of them. Those millions that are comprised of all of those single dollar bills. He's got 33 of those a year that he collects. You know what I
Yeah,
mean? If you can
but
collect that much money without having the pressure of actually trying to win, yeah.
mm, I can say, yeah, if you just chasing the dollar sign, you need to step away. I've been in love with basketball since 1981, and I was born in 79. Yeah, I didn't make it as far as what I thought I would, but hey, I know per se the
Yeah.
student of the game. If you're not in love with it, I will say this, and hopefully I won't mess up what Pitbull said. If you're just chasing the money, you're doing wrong. You're doing that craft and injustice if you're chasing the money. Because, like the man said, he knows billionaires that are unhappy and have all the
Oh
money
yeah.
in the world. If you're not doing it because you have a passion that you love it,
Well, I
and
mean
then
that's
that
the
you're
best the
actually
best side.
and that you actually want to show this man has kids looking up to him. The style of play has went from traditional back against your basketball to a higher speed of pace. He got the newer generation just looking and they looking. I'm not saying that he wanted to be a role model, but you stepped into that role, sir. With that role, it takes responsibility. Some people don't want to hear this, but it got to be said. Regardless if you wanted to be a role model or not, if you are in that field and you are on a national or worldwide platform, guess what, sir, ma'am, or whatever else you want to be called? You are a role model. You have someone younger down the line looking at you and how you are doing. And these actions, what is going on nowadays in the NBA, he don't want Kyrie Irving to lost his mind. But no, it's unbecoming. And I'm so sorry. You should not get paid for that. If you sitting there just chasing the check, you ain't doing nothing to help the craft of basketball or just help yourself. You're being selfish. You're not helping the city of Houston or the team or the franchise. They got titles in that city.
Hakeem.
But you are being selfish. You are
Well,
disgracing that jersey and that organization because you are being petty and selfish, sir. And somebody, if I gotta be the one to tell you this is sad.
but at the
And it's
same
just
time though,
pretty
but that's
wrong.
what I'm but that's what I'm
But
saying
I'm
though.
saying
At the
no,
end of,
I don't give the free to Van Gundy because you knew what was going on.
but
Before
the
y'all
thing
left up
but
out of there,
again,
y'all knew what was going on. Now you want somebody else to clean up your mess?
but Scout, at the same time though, if he's selfish and they kind of fostered his selfish, side, then yeah, of course you're going to see it more when they're like okay, you know what I mean? And I'm not trying to bit hack on this one, but like Shannon Sharp said, you know what I mean? You give to James falls short. You give more to James falls short. You give more to James falls short. Now you're out of what you can give. And he's like, well, if you got nothing left to give me, I don't want to be here no more. You know what I mean? He was already a selfish person to begin with in that regard. But their I want to say lapses in judgment or what have you fostered, the products that we see today. Plus, the entitlement plus the acting out is going to see you in Vegas throwing dollar bills when you're supposed to be in training camp. You know what I mean?
That's
That's
what
where
I'm
that's
saying.
going to come
This type
from.
of mentality, look over it. We've been talking about it now for the last 3 weeks. Paul George, Kyrie Irving,
You
James
said Paul
Harden.
George whined and got a contract.
Yeah, he did. This is exactly the same thing with James Harden doing right now. I'm so sorry. These young men, because I'm older than they are, these young men, you need some act right. I'm gonna say exactly what my grandfather said. You need some home training and some act right. I have never seen a generation of superstars whine and god doggone complain and act like this, but then the owners and them give them top dollar because they whine and complain. No, I wouldn't.
Well, at the same time, also remember but see, that's where back to your earlier point where this type of behavior should be penalized. It should be fined. Here's the problem in a nutshell. It's a diverse moral compass. Because, okay, say you're Tillman Fertitta. You want to punish James Harden. You want to get some sort of, I don't know, whatever out of him, money, what have you, whatever. You still got 29 other teams in the league, probably not all of them, but, amongst the 29 other teams in the league that are going to be willing to pay James Harden the money that he wants and still allow him to pull the nonsense that he pulls. So where that behavior should be punished because it will be tolerated because my skill level is such, that's where your problem arises. You know what I mean? Somebody else is willing to pay. So they're willing to overlook the bad behavior, even though they agree it should be punished, it should not be tolerated, but they're still willing to pay because it's in their interest of their pocket. So that's why you're going to see people get away with this because they, in a sense, they kind of have that leverage. Their skill is the thing that's needed.
Yeah, but it's showing bad all the way around. Mm-hmm. With the owners allowing this, the owners board, the board of owners, all of this, the commissioner, Adam Silver, I'm sorry, this man a cakewalk. I'm so sorry. A lot of times you can't be everybody's friend. You can't be. Not like this.
Not everybody can go.
No, and it's just showing the standard level. The NBA, you supposed to be elite.
Yeah, but the NBA is also the most pro player empowerment as well.
Right, but so I'm just saying,
if anywhere was going to have kind of a lack in the,
it's changed so much over. Yeah, but it's changed so much over the years to where it is player orchestrated. It's time for the players to be accountable. If you want all this fairness and equalness for the owners to treat you right and that you can work out these mega deals that what we have seen, the most money each year, it then jumped up and stuff like that each year. Mm-hmm. They need to be accountable.
Good luck
this
with
is
that.
Not, but that's what I'm saying. They need to sit down. The players union, Chris Paul, all of them need to sit down. This is unacceptable. Chris Paul left a team and didn't even know he was really leaving, left OKC and went to the Phoenix, and the very next day was in the gym with Devin Booker. But you got James Harden tossing dollars? What is this? Yeah, even though
being a free spirit.
But still, even though, okay, Paul George was whining and complaining, Kawhi was in the gym. Kyrie over there downplaying LeBron. KD in the gym and made his first good step on the NBA court and scored his first points as a net. So no, I know really you can't, but honestly, it can be done. You got everybody else being accountable or trying to be accountable, showing up, but you got a few that can whine their way or complain. No. You want to know why Milwaukee gave Giannis that extension? for them
Because
5
their
years.
future will walk out the door if they don't.
That is not all the way so.
But that's 90% of it. What, you gonna fall back on
90%.
Chris Middleton?
Hold on, 90%. Yes, I'll give you that. I will give you that. But you want to know why they gave him the money? That man earned their money.
Without a question.
When you the first one in the gym, the last one to leave film room, last one to leave the practice arena, and you got a newborn at home, he putting in the work. What work James Harden do?
Don't
tell me
the buffet line.
Well, that was evident. You know, he showed up out of shape.
But he is
and I'm sorry. If Danny Ranger would have stayed healthy, we'd have been like Paul George who? I'm gonna say it. But I know y'all done said it, but I'm gonna say it. We'd have been like Paul George who?
Like, we got James Harden, we got All-Star, MVP, scoring champion. You know what I mean? Not many people have those accolades just lying around. So if you want to keep them, to a degree, you're gonna have to bend over backwards. You know what I mean? That just is what it is. Now, you probably don't have this happening in other places because other places don't have situations like literally solely tailored to one person. You know what I'm saying? The entire way the Rockets organization is, the entire organization is set up tailored around James Harden.
I'm saying, you got other organizations. The NFL is even looking at it like, he doing what?
And they got holdouts regularly.
They got a baseball team there in Houston too. And they looking like, he did what?
But at the same time, the rest of those leagues, like I said, they don't have that player empowerment. They don't.
I'm just saying.
You know, they don't.
But I'm just saying, somebody needs to take accountability. But I'm gonna get off H-Town because you know we've been on this H-Town kick going on 3 weeks, and I'm not saying that. I'm just saying I'm not saying that it ain't good for us because you're giving us more content, but dude, it's showing that you being boo-boo the fool right now. Cold-heartedly.
Yeah. But I mean, in the end, he's still going to get his trade. He's still going to get his trade. He's still going to get his money. So that's why it's almost like as bad as it sounds. You might as well just give in now because either way you look at it, it's going to happen. You know what I mean? A superstar can stay in a situation only but so long. When they want to leave, they leaving. You know, so either you get traded or you walk. I think Houston is looking at the situation like they might let it ride this year, but next year when it gets pressing.
No, because they have upped the ante. They have upped the ante today to try to negotiate with several more teams to get him up out of there. Philly right now is the front runner, which Philly is talking about even throwing in Ben Simmons to try to get Harden, which I think, okay, that's kind of still horrible because Embiid is a emotional player. Yes, he's your rebounder and stuff like that, but the big men do like to touch the ball. And that I don't see how Doc gonna negotiate that. And that is just no. And then the Nets really haven't said too much, but the Nets would have to give away, almost everybody on their bench, probably in the first round pick to cover that money spread. But to me, that type of prima donna stuff, it shouldn't be in sports, period. I don't care what platform you're on.
Yeah, but when you are standing on the platform as one of the best people on the platform, this is what you're going to get.
I'm just saying, the only reason why the man is on the platform because he's allowed to shoot that much. I'm sorry. I
Well, this
believe I
year,
believe what my coach told us in high school, Coach Bill Cordell and Bill Turner, who both played for the Boston Celtics. Listen here, I don't care if your name is Moses. You can split the Red Sea or anything else that, like how he used to tell us, both of them gentlemen used to tell us, uh,
mm,
it ain't no I in team. Yes, it's an I am win, but we gonna win as a team. And if you feel that you need to shoot that much, we have a lovely saying over here. You can collect pine needles
hmm.
right over there.
well, they're not gonna bench James Harden. I'm telling you, they're not gonna bench that. So,
No, I don't know. He don't get that round oompa oompa in shape. Shoot, he gonna bench himself. Cause it looked like he was kept waving there in that first game, waving somebody on because he looked a little bit winded and everything else. It's different
don't
than being
worry,
in basketball shape and then NBA basketball shape.
don't worry,
Right
don't
now, he
worry.
looking
He's
like
got.
he round as a basketball.
Mm,
But
mm. Yeah, he'll
I
run. I mean,
digress.
seriously, nah, because I mean, it's preseason. He'll. Wow. Wow. I was about to say he'll round into form, but I guess that's a bad joke. But you know what I mean? Look, he's James Harden. He's going to give you James Harden numbers. Yeah, he might start off kind of slow, but realistically, you're looking at a guy that's going to be averaging anywhere north of 26, 27 points a game this season. Uh, going to be right up in the top, near the top of the league leaders in assists. Excuse me. Now, I don't know if his usage rate is going to still be the same way it is. So, with that being said, we're going to see how they incorporate John Wall. But you know what you're going to get with James Harden. It's not. This isn't like some guess that you had to make. You know what you're getting with James. So, at the end of the day, if all you're going to do is move James for the sake of moving James, then you might as well just do it at your own leisure. But if you don't see an offer, if you don't hear something that really entices you, Ben Simmons from Philly is a nice. To me, it's a nice, but it's not. It's not the whole thing. It's nice, but it's not the whole thing. So depending on what else they want to offer, but yeah, if you're not going to get offered one of these once in a generation, once in a lifetime players, you might as well just wait it out. You know what I mean? You're not
True.
going to get equal value. You're not going to get equal value. You want to get close enough to it. So if you don't feel that you're going to get that, I mean, you just cut the loss, and it is what it is at that point.
Yeah, I can see that. If I'm Houston,
Yeah.
I'm start looking through college and everything else. Who else can I can get to be a scorer? And then
Yeah,
I'm gonna
but I mean, what
start,
are you going to go? But what are you going to get? A whole bunch of draft picks?
well, no, not saying I'm gonna tank games. I'm gonna work the system when I can and see for the best opportunity, like how you said. But I'm gonna come up with a very strong game plan because this right here has done got way out of hand and this then got ridiculous on so
Well, just
many
make
different
yourself.
levels.
Well, make yourself a board if you're checking out draft prospects. But like I said, I mean, you're going to trade James Harden, who's a year off of it, in a sense. Like, he's going to be going downhill. He's 31 now, right? So 32. Yeah, because the late 20s is your prime. So you got a guy he's still an all-star, but he's going to be starting to enter the quote-unquote twilight of his career. So, you know what I mean? I don't necessarily think a lot of teams are going to be gung-ho to give up so much for him in youthful assets, especially when he's, like you said, a cancer to the locker room. You know what I mean? It's kind of a tough spot to be in. You know what I mean? Somebody's still going to want to pay him, but are they going to be able to offer you what you want for him? That's the question.
True. Now
You know
on
what I
other
mean?
news, on other news around the NBA, like how we said or I said before, Giannis got a nice deal. But
Hmm.
I want to talk about some of these rookies, like tonight's game. Ball versus Cole.
Oh boy.
Now,
Who, Cole Anthony?
yes, I will honestly say this year's draft class has some. You got some firepower and you got a lot of star power. I will say this, but I will also say, um, in a nutshell, who is going to start emerging? I know it's preseason and stuff like that, but who's going to emerge? That's what I need to know. Who's going to emerge? Because a lot of people just don't think how it is or how is it going to be. So we gonna see. I'm steadily looking forward. It's a matter of time before LaMelo be a starter. He is his to work on.
You are really pulling for that kid.
Listen. I'm pulling for that kid because I've been watching him way before all this ball in the family and LeVar with all of this. I watched them before because my son played AAU basketball, stuff like that, and it's kind of hard when you got to play a juggernaut and you're like, who the heck is the little fluffy headed little kid? But then you find out very quickly that fluffy headed little kid is a sniper, and he got two brothers that also, then you're looking like,
well, it's weird. It's weird to be a sniper and have such a weird looking jumper. But hey, if it falls, it falls.
Yes, but I'm pulling for him because a lot of people has not written them off, I would say, but when your family is that far watched and hard and looked at that hard for like the last 4 or 5 years now. For about 4 or 5 years. Like, and I'm sorry. I talk good. Every parent talks good about their kids when they come to sports. And if your child is really talented, you talk very well of, hey, this can happen. If you constantly put in the work. But LeVar, coming from where he came from, and basketball wasn't his stuff. He was a football player. And for him to actually, the way how it's groomed, right?
Well, he said he found a woman that was going to give him tall children. So he even though football was his thing, he said it himself. I don't know.
Yes, he did. But
I assume the wife ain't slapped him for it, so I guess it is the truth. But he knew what he wanted.
Right. But if you just look at it, Lonzo, during the time when he was in college, one of the most exciting guys to watch for UCLA. When your coach gives you the green light 2 steps past half court, you can range.
Now, if you had the consistent jump shot to hit that on the regular, but we ain't gonna talk about
right. But people was looking at that like, oh. And
you think he's Trae Young.
If you honestly look at it, Fox did get Lonzo in the game, but who's still been more relevant since they made it to the pros? It's like how you said, Lonzo Ball is basically Jason Kidd, but a little bit taller, skinnier frame.
That's true.
Okay, you got one child to do that, and that's the oldest. Even though Detroit this week did mess up and cut LaGello, which that's a whole different story in itself, because I believe if that young man is busting your starter and getting after your starters in practice time, put him on the court. I don't know what's behind it, but that's a little bit ridiculous. But then you got the younger brother.
Yeah, but this is preseason, so you don't have to necessarily rush it. Let's bring them let's bring him along slowly and make sure that when he hits the ground running,
But they
you know
didn't
what I
even
mean?
give him that chance. But then you got the younger brother who hit growth spurts, who has now showed up into the league basically 6'8", wingspan about 75, and is working with a former NBA All-Star because in this Orlando game, this man had 11 points in the first half. He went from 0 to 11 almost in the whole entire game to 11 points in the first half. Steady progression.
Well, that's a small sample
And
size, but yeah,
I'm
yeah,
rooting for this
that's
kid
promising.
because if he fights his way into the starting lineup, because the NBA starts next week. If he fights his way into the starting lineup before the All-Star weekend, if they have one,
Mm-hmm.
and he is steadily showing, think about it. He got Michael Jeffrey Jordan as the owner.
So that's gonna bring you certain backing, certain clout, give you access and resources to what do I do in this specific situation. That's amazing in itself.
Right. And the thing about it also was getting, when you're impressing vets on and off the court with your passing for one, and the way how you keep the up tempo at your height. When Magic Johnson, and we already talked about this man, says, "Hey Zo, your brother doing some stuff like I look like seeing myself." When a great like that says, "Hey man, this a small little brother," where everyone was saying he was immature, and what? Come on. And I'm just a firm believer. Hey man, it is a family thing. Trust me, I'd have loved it if I would love it if all three of my boys could have made it to the league.
Well, yeah, definite.
That'd have been hilarious. Straight up. But
That's a word.
But I look forward to this NBA season.
Yeah, definitely. We do.
Hopefully Mr. Harden, Mr. George, and Mr. Irving pull it together.
Well, don't mention Mr. Irving, so you were good there. Don't mention that one.
Still.
You were good with everything else you said. The two overpaid crybabies I'm okay with. Just don't mention him.
Man, look, you gotta let it go on Mr. Irving, Black man. You gotta let it go. You gotta let it go.
He let go of his grip on reality. I'm straight. Just don't mention him.
I'm just saying, he is an NBA player. He's a champion.
Barely. I don't care. I'm good. Don't do it.
But I hope this NBA season, we see a lot of promising things. But on a different note, people, the show that's coming, the leading up to what we said, if you do not know who Mr. Stuart Scott was or who he is,
we'll put the spotlight on his
or what his legacy was, please tune in for the spotlight on Mr. Stuart Orlando Scott. Because all this stuff what you're seeing nowadays, if this man, God rest his soul, would have still been at the finals or still commentating on SportsCenter, I promise you, some things would have been
cooler
said
than the other side of the pillow.
The side of the pillow. And I say this also to say this. If Mr. Ahmad Rashad would just say a few words Because we already know what Mark Jackson then said. Mark ain't gonna bite a lot of his words, and I appreciate that man for it because he gonna tell you like it is. Just like how Black said earlier, Mr. Shay Sharp, one of my favorite football players of all time, Shay Sharp, he's gonna tell you how it is, and he gonna stand by that. But please, we ask y'all to join us, give you a little insight on how sports media got life, had pizzazz, a little charisma. He brought a little Shakespeare, a little hip hop. We gonna let you in on Mr. School Stop.
Definitely.
But it's time for them clocks to reset. We'll see you next time on Clockwise Thoughts. Peace.
Thanks, everybody. Night.